guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording Tuesday, April 2nd, and we are talking about Mr. Grant Williams. Celtics played the Hornets on Monday night, and Grant talked about the Celtics, so we're going to talk about him. Before we do that, as always, a reminder, leave a like on the video if you watch this channel, and subscribe to How About Them Celtics on YouTube. We'd appreciate it very, very much. If you listen on audio platforms, which this isn't, but if you do, go to audio platforms. Leave us a 5-star and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts as well. Thank you very much. And comment what's popping on the video for a chance to win a $10 gift card for some popcorn, which very good popcorn. Anyways, Grant Williams, Celtics. Again, like I said, played the Hornets, and Gary Washburn of the Boston Globe, I'll link the article down in the description, talked to Grant about his roller coaster year, the Mike Gorman comments, which we did a video on, which you can go check out as well, and just talk to him about what it's been like, his response to that, and all that type of stuff. So,
funny fucking picture by Gary.
It is a great picture. Him with the ref, like 1, 2, what are we doing? But we can take a look at what he said. Gary, who is Gary's got to be one of the GOATs at this point. He might be the GOAT of Boston sports writers, at least on the Celtics beat. So
active, yes.
Active GOAT.
Bob
yes.
Ryan might be the GOAT. That might be disrespectful.
Active GOAT. This is like LeBron versus MJ, but active GOAT. Talked about Grant, talked about how his, like, I don't want to say his reputation's been tarnished, but like he's taken a lot of shit this year with the Mavericks after going there, especially from Celtics fans as well. And Gary kind of asked him about it. And asked him about the Mike Gorman comments. He asked him about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who posted on Twitter after it's like supporting him, talking about how great a teammate he is. And Grant said, "The Lord does that for a reason. I've said that I try my best to keep a positive mentality in my day-to-day life. I'm thankful for the opportunity to go to 2 different situations and learn in each. Now it's a matter of to get back to that chance of winning in Charlotte, which is exciting for me." Also talked directly about Mike Gorman's comments and said, "You can't control people's opinions or what they say." It meant the world to me that Jason and Jaylen came to my defense without me asking. It was pretty cool seeing that. It showed the person that I am. I had a lot of great years in Boston. I thought I had a great relationship with Mike, and maybe I still do. Maybe he was commenting on what I thought was happening. I always loved watching him and Tommy when I first got there, and now him and Scal. I tried my best to keep up with Scal. Gorman's comments definitely caught me off guard, but there are things that they're going to say that you can't control. I try to treat people with grace and care. It kind of hurt, but at the same time, you smile through it. That is kind of sad to hear him talk about it in that way, like saying, "I thought we were cool, but I guess not." Like that is kind of like, damn.
Sounds like somebody else we know.
I don't know, man. It is weird seeing Grant talk about it this way. I've always thought Grant's a great guy. Like, I know he like rubs people the wrong way on the court and with his personality, but like off the court, I never thought there would be any like real problems from that perspective.
No, I mean, when the Gorman thing came out, I think I was kind of split because I still don't know why Gorman would lie about anything. I don't think he would. I was thinking about this as we got ready. Like, Gorman doesn't really need clout. He's in the fucking Hall of Fame. Like, I don't really know if he cares if people are talking about him or not. But at the same time, the impression I had of Grant Williams is he was the annoying little brother. They all still loved him, but they liked to bust his balls. And that seemed to be the case in the game on Monday when they were in Charlotte and everybody was kind of joking with him. Grant talked about it after the game in the media scrum. And he seems to be a pretty likable guy. The Dallas thing didn't make a ton of sense to me at the time either. It was funny. Like, at any time Grant has a little misfortune, it's kind of funny in the little brother way, but he seems like a pretty decent person. Like, he doesn't seem to be causing problems. And I know people weren't happy about the playoff thing with Jimmy Butler, and I was pissed when it happened. But I calmed down and realized, he was actually kind of leading by example because nobody else was playing with any fire. And he decided to show up, speak up, and then it unfortunately resulted in a loss. But nonetheless, at least he fucking cared. I mean, that game was a mess up until that point. He caught fire in the 4th quarter, and he was letting them know. So
I wrote about it.
Grant. Yeah.
Not only did he catch fire, he was the only motherfucker doing anything. He scored like 9 of their last 13 points, and that's not conducive with success if it's Grant Williams doing that. Respect to Grant, but like, that's a testament to how bad everyone else was playing. He also talked about Boston, the growing pains, and what he remembers from the city. He said, "That's where I was first drafted. That's the team that believed in me. I had so many great memories of the team there, the players there, the organization in the city. I'm just thankful to be able to go back and be well received. Honestly, I love my time in Boston. I love those years. I enjoyed the experience there. Now it's a matter of when I go back, trying to keep your emotions in and compete. And that's something I'll have to do for the rest of my career." Talked about his new environments. Says, I'll read this quote. It's long, but it's important, so I'll get through it.
All right.
When I first get to a new environment, I talk a lot. Sometimes it might annoy you, and other times you might love it. I'm going to be there in support of you as a teammate, as a man. I'm going to have your back on and off the floor. That's the number one important thing to me. No matter if I'm annoying, no matter if I piss people off sometimes, they know it's coming out of the right mentality, the right place. I always said I definitely adjusted. I was way worse my rookie year. I got told, shut the fuck up in the NBA bubble versus now. It's a matter of continuing to grow, understanding when to speak versus when to hold back. I've learned that over the past 4 or 5 years, being in the league and playing with different guys, my relationship with Jason and Jalen and how I communicate with them may be different than how I communicate with Kyrie or Luka or Brandon Miller or LaMelo Ball here. As I continue to grow, I'll continue to get better with it, but I try my best to be a leader with my approach every single day, which, like you just said, is exactly how he's always carried himself. He's always been, I'm going to be a leader. And to his credit, we always talked about him. It's like, yeah, it's Marcus and Grant. Those are the guys, those are the motherfuckers who are going to speak up and do all the dirty work and do the shit and speak up for you on the court. And there was a whole thing when Joe Mazzulla in his first year, when he was struggling and trying to adapt, Grant and Marcus would have to explain the fucking defenses. So like that shows you what a leader Grant was. I know it's funny, and I know people can use on that to pick on Joe, but it was his first year, and now people are saying, well, Grant sucked. Motherfucker, he was trying to explain shit. He was helping coach. Like, I mean, I'm obviously biased because I was always a fan of Grant's, but I think this tracks to what you were saying too.
Football season may be over, but the action on the floor is heating up. Whether it's a tournament season or the fight for a playoff home court, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Prize Picks is really simple to play, and I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Use the code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I would really love to just hear what happened in Dallas. The Dallas layer of this is the most interesting to me because we obviously are isolated from that. We don't hear much about it. We're not following the Mavs. But do we really think Grant showed up and made problems in Dallas? Maybe they didn't like his leadership. Maybe they didn't like him coming in and talking a lot. But I don't know, Dallas, you had a shitty season last year so bad that you decided to punt at the end and tank so you would have a draft pick instead of trying to compete in the playoffs. Your team couldn't have been that great if you were trying to just call it a year. If Grant's coming in, which it always seemed like he was going to be a pretty good fit there, he was somebody that fit the scheme playing around Luka, where you can just stand there, play defense, and shoot threes. Why would you neglect what he has to say if he's coming from a team like the Celtics that have been to the finals? It's just a bizarre, weird, defensive approach from the Mavericks. And, you know, ever since he's gotten to Charlotte, Charlotte's low-key been a little bit better. They won a couple games when he first got there. Grant's been playing well on the Hornets. So you can at least take the stats and the monthly splits and be like, okay, I do believe that there were problems in Dallas. I think they were two-sided. Grant was clearly uncomfortable because he wasn't playing very good basketball, especially towards the end. And then all of a sudden he leaves and he's putting up good numbers on efficient splits on a shittier team. That doesn't happen. No. Guys go to bad teams and they have to shoot more, so the efficiency drops. No. Grant somehow has gotten better. And for what it's worth, I have really changed my tune since the last video we've done this. I think he's going to help the Hornets climb to whatever their next step is. Whether that is the play-in, whether that's being slightly above it. I don't know if they're going to actually be a competitive team anytime soon here. But he can at least instill some sort of pride within that organization. Nobody in Charlotte seems to give a shit about anything. LaMelo barely plays. Every time he does an interview, it's a joke. The rest of them, they don't have any kind of cemented cast of characters. Miles Bridges is getting in legal trouble. He won't be there after this year. And they only have Brandon Miller to look forward to. So if you have Grant, that's at least somebody, and Mark Williams, and somebody else to be a part of your organization, somebody that has winning experience, somebody that's played in the playoffs. You don't have a whole lot of that in Charlotte.
Yeah, and I mean, for what it's worth, like, to your point, I do think he can help them go to that next step because of the potential lineup you could see next year. Like, for as much as you say LaMelo doesn't care, I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying I disagree with it, but like, he is a phenomenal player and they are objectively better when he's on the court, right? And so you add a lineup, like, let's say they get to a lineup of LaMelo Ball, he'll definitely be back and starting next year, who, regardless of what you think of his personality on the court, he impacts winning. Like, he's a good player, and he's not Luka. He is a mix because he can do a little bit of everything, and he's a good passer. You add a top draft pick, like maybe a Reed Shepherd, a Rob Dillingham, a Cody Williams out of Colorado.
Then you have guys that aren't in the NBA.
I know. I will. I may be looking at a no ceilings mock draft when I say that.
Oh,
let's not give me too much credit. But
right.
You add those guys, or even a Dalton Connect, like who was just on the screen, who had a monster season for Tennessee, and then you add Brandon Miller. He was sick. So LaMelo, one of those guys. Brandon Miller, Grant Williams, Mark Williams. That's a pretty good lineup. Like, that's an okay thing. Like, you can grow with that. Those are pieces that fit together. You have scoring wings in Brandon Miller and or whoever, like one of those guys I mentioned out of the draft. You have a point guard who is very clearly the top guy. You have a 3-and-D guy in Grant Williams who can defend the perimeter, and Mark Williams, who was having a great season before he got hurt. Like, that's a competent lineup. And then you add the guys they brought in that look good. Like, I'm not saying Davis Bertans is amazing, but he looks like he's finding a little bit of the juice in Charlotte again. Vasa Micic is good. Trey Mann's good. Like, they're finding pieces and they're finding guys. Nick Richards is a competent center off the bench. Like, they're finding things. And so I think Grant can be a part of that. And for what it's worth, since we're talking about, he had a good relationship with the guys in the Celtics. This was Tatum when he was asked about him after the game in Charlotte. I'll share the screen here and we can take a look at what Tatum had to say about Grant. But yeah, he take a listen.
How much fun
Pull it up.
Grant, the way he's talking trash to you out there.
Grant always got some to say. But I just say that's, it's my brother for life. And it's cool. I don't talk trash at all, but if it's somebody I'm close with, I know, like today at Grant, I like to have fun out there. So it's always good to see him, competing against him. So we just had some fun out there.
Grant also had some words for Tatum, for what it's worth. So they a little bit of back and forth there.
A little circle jerk going on.
Yeah, they maybe less so.
This is a tough freeze frame.
Take a listen to Grant.
Honestly, we talked so much in that game, I have no idea. But him and D constantly call me a hack, and I'm always just like, y'all are hacks. You just don't get calls for it because you're superstars. And I always tease him about that because I think he was saying like I was fouling KP or something like that, and I was just like, hey man, you fouled AP and Brandon in 2 possessions in a row. They just didn't call a foul on you because
know their names.
Pretty, but that's all it was.
Because honestly, your light skin and think you're pretty is an all-time line from Grant Williams. But yeah, like, you listen to that stuff, you look at the pictures of them hanging out before the game and even like before the second half, like they're talking, like Grant and him always hung out before the games in Boston last year. Like, it's very clear to me that his relationship with Tatum and even Brown and the other guys is like solid. So it was odd to hear that from Gorman, and maybe that is just his perspective and it is what it is. But I don't think Grant is a bad dude or anything, and I think he does positively impact things, and you see that now.
Grant's a fucking scumbag, dude.
Shut the fuck up. But anyways, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, on the interview with Grant, the Hornets logo does him dirty. It looks like he has bunny ears.
It does. Yeah, it's a good call. I didn't for the chat. This is
pull it up.
It does look like he has bunny ears.
Yep.
Tough screenshot again. Sorry, Grant. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it very much. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. An obscene amount of content coming on this YouTube channel for you. 5 a.m. every day. Talking C's every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and South of the Roundtable every Tuesday, plus pregame streams before every single game, no matter what. You can find us here more often than not. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like Jack said, we have plenty of content coming at you. Whether you like the pods, you like Talking C's, you like these short videos, you like the roundtable, you like pregame, it's all going to be there for you. So you can take your pick or watch all of it. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. Our audio pods and game recaps are going to be there. So if you leave a 5-star review, we'd appreciate that. You can also find us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. The Facebook is just the name of the pod. Our streams are there. They're on YouTube and they're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JackSmoneNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.